Hey guys, listen up. This is the story of Judge Greg Mathis and his wife Linda. For almost 40 whole years, they were like this super special couple in the celebrity world. They showed real staying power, being loyal to each other and having this quiet, strong kind of love. There were zero big scandals, no crazy public fights or drama, just a solid marriage that handled fame without falling apart. That's exactly why what happened next blew everyone's mind so fast. Their love story started way back before any TV cameras showed up in courtrooms. Then it took a huge, surprising twist. Fans got really confused and started looking everywhere for answers. There wasn't some huge, loud headline or anyone yelling accusations in public. It was just this sudden change that didn't make any sense at all. When people started whispering rumors to fill in the quiet parts, the whole thing got even messier and harder to figure out. So what really went down when no one was watching? And what could push a guy who built his whole life around holding people accountable to face the biggest personal challenge ever in his own world? This judge came straight out of tough times in jail. Greg Mathis was born right in the middle of Detroit. His parents were Charles and Alice Lee Mathis, but it was really his mom, Alice, who guided where his life would go. Alice was super serious about her faith as a Seventh-day Adventist. She worked really long, tiring hours as a nurse's aide and a housekeeper just to keep food on the table and the lights on for her family. By the time the big troubles and protests hit in the 1960s and 1970s, Alice was already divorced. She was raising four boys completely by herself, carrying every single worry and job for the house on her own shoulders. In 1964, she moved with her boys into the Herman Gardens housing projects. That place shaped Greg's early childhood big time. They lived there until around 1970. They only left because drugs and violence got way too dangerous to stay around anymore. It was a really rough spot for anybody to grow up in, especially for a single mom trying so hard to steer four boys away from trouble. Alice fought back with everything she had: strict rules, strong faith, and a clear daily routine. She juggled two jobs. Sometimes she did overnight shifts at work. Other times she cleaned houses all day. Even when that meant leaving her boys home alone in a scary neighborhood, she kept going because she had to. She never gave up on pushing education and faith. Going to church, that was a must, no excuses. Doing homework always required no skipping. Family dinners together and saying prayers, those things held the whole house together like glue. But the streets right outside their door were shouting louder and pulling harder than any church lesson or mom's words ever could. Slowly, that street pressure started chipping away at everything Alice taught inside the home. Greg and his brothers got dragged into street life little by little. That rough world ended up being a huge part of how Greg's whole life changed later on. As a teen, Greg kept getting into trouble over and over. He started doing things like snatching purses from people, breaking into places, and even straight-up robbery. When he was 17, it all hit rock bottom hard. Police charged him with carrying a hidden weapon. That put him in Wayne County Jail for 9 full months. Being locked up forced him to really look at how far down the wrong path he had gone. While he was inside, his mom came to visit with the worst news ever. She told him she had colon cancer. Around the same time, the judge in charge of his case gave him a clear, tough choice: get your GED high school diploma or stay locked up longer. Greg worked hard and got early probation instead of more time. But the real moment that flipped his life around happened soon after he got out. He made a serious promise to his mom, who was dying. That promise turned into the strong inner guide he lived by from then on. It shaped every single choice he made after that. The path ahead wasn't easy at all. Right after getting released, Greg started working at McDonald's flipping burgers. It wasn't fancy or cool, but it gave him a paycheck, kept him busy and focused, and helped him follow his probation rules perfectly. It was just about surviving and staying out of trouble, but it kept him moving in the right direction step by step. Then a big break came. One of his family's close friends stepped in and helped him sign up for classes at Eastern Michigan University. Once he got there, Greg found out he loved politics and helping people in public jobs. He jumped into campus life big time. He joined the Democratic Party and helped organize big protests against apartheid happening in South Africa. He wasn't only reading about government in books, he was actually doing the work for real. After he finished his degree in public administration, Greg aimed straight for Detroit. T's City Hall, he started working with the city council. Later, he joined Mayor Coleman Young's team. He ran a district city hall office and stayed super close to the people in the community every day. When Mayor Young stepped down in 1992, Greg switched gears to become a lawyer. He focused on defending young people who were in trouble, kids who reminded him a lot of how he used to be. Then his old past came knocking again. When Greg applied to get his official law license, his criminal record from years ago became a huge roadblock. Instead of just giving up, he fought back hard. He took the fight all the way to the Michigan Supreme Court and he won. All the good work he did, helping the community and earning people's trust, ended up mattering way more than the bad choices he made when he was young. When Greg finally sat down as a judge on the bench, the whole country paid attention. A guy who used to be locked up in jail turning into a judge in only 15 years. It felt almost impossible, like something from a movie. Then came some accusations that shook things up big time. Back in 2019, Judge Greg Mathis suddenly landed right in the middle of real-life drama that felt way too similar to cases he handled on his show. But this time, the scene wasn't inside a courtroom. It happened on the sidewalk right outside a popular Detroit soul food spot called Flood's Bar and Grill. Reports that came out later said Greg pulled up in his fancy Rolls-Royce for a fun Friday night. Everything was going fine until it was time to head home. A valet guy accidentally got into the wrong car while still holding Greg's keys. That left the judge standing there waiting for his ride. Time kept ticking, waiting got longer and longer. Frustration started building up inside. When the valet finally came back with the keys, things supposedly blew up. People said the valet apologized right away and explained the mix-up. But Greg was already mad. He let out a loud, angry shout at the guy. Things got even worse when some people claimed Greg spat right on the worker before speeding off in his car. At first, Detroit police didn't name who was involved. But later, a police spokesperson confirmed what happened, and inside sources pointed straight to Judge Mathis as the person. It was such a shocking difference from the calm, in-control judge everyone saw on TV every day. Greg spoke out strongly and denied the worst part, the spitting. He admitted he raised his voice and got loud, but he said no spitting ever happened. He explained he waited about 40 minutes and the valet's story just made him angrier. To him, it was only words exchanged, nothing physical. He even wondered why the story came out when it did and suggested maybe the valet wanted money from it. Back then, police hadn't charged him with any crime. Greg said cops never even called or talked to him directly. He added more to his side of the story. That night he was dealing with a health problem. He had a stomach condition he'd had for a long time. His medicine was in the trunk of the car. Waiting so long made everything feel way more stressful because he really needed that medicine. The valet's lawyer came back hard. He said Greg did spit on his client for sure. They planned to test the shirt the valet was wearing for DNA to prove it. The lawyer also said Greg bragged about what happened to people standing nearby, and there were witnesses who could back that up. Greg pushed right back against that. He said he had his own group of witnesses who would tell a completely different story. A few years passed. Then in December 2024, Greg faced another big accusation. This one happened in Los Angeles. A city worker named Ricardo Aosta said he was going to sue over something that supposedly went down in July 2023 right outside Greg's house. According to the papers filed, Ricardo worked for the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. He parked a big dump truck in a spot that blocked Greg's driveway. The complaint said Greg got super angry, yelled mean things at Ricardo, and even threatened him with a gun. Ricardo called it assault and said it hurt him emotionally for a long time after. Greg's lawyers shot it down fast. His attorney called the whole thing an attempt to get money by scaring him. She pointed out that Lapt never looked into it at all. She said if a real lawsuit came, Greg would fight back strong with his own lawsuits for lying and bad behavior. The complaint described a heated scene. It said Greg stood right behind the truck yelling for Ricardo to move it now. Ricardo tried to explain that the truck was parked on a hill and needed extra room to pull out safely. But Greg supposedly ignored that and kept getting madder. The biggest claim came next. People said Greg went inside his house, came back out holding a gun, and threatened to shoot Ricardo. Ricardo said the whole thing hurt him so much he had to see doctors and get legal help. He wanted money for Lowe's. Paychecks, trouble earning money later, and all the emotional pain. All these stories together made people see Judge Mathis in a different light. He was famous for handing out fair justice on TV. Now folks started wondering what happens when the judge leaves the courtroom and deals with everyday life like the rest of us. What really ended for Judge Mathis? Greg Mathis is one of those names everybody knows right away. For years and years, he was on TV in homes all across America every single day. People loved him as the star of Judge Mathis. And his show wasn't just any courtroom program. It became one of the longest-running ones ever in that whole type of TV. To give you an idea how big it was, Judge Mathis sits in fourth place for all-time court shows. Only Divorce Court, The People's Court, and Judge Judy ran longer. But here's what made his show stand out even more. Divorce Court and The People's Court had to stop, come back with changes, and switch judges lots of times. Judge Mathis, it stayed rock solid. Greg never left his judge spot. The show never got sold to new people or changed owners. Only Judge Judy could say the same thing about staying the same. When Judge Judy finished its amazing 25-season run in 2021, Judge Mathis took over as the longest-running active court show, still going with the original judge and the same production team. That's why 2022 felt like such a huge surprise to everyone. Warner Brothers made a big decision and canceled Judge Mathis completely. At the exact same moment, they also ended The People's Court, which Marilyn Millian was hosting then. It wasn't only two shows disappearing. It felt like the end of a whole big chapter in daytime TV history. Judge Mathis wrapped after 24 seasons. It first started back in 1999. The People's Court finished after 26 seasons going all the way back to 1997. Both shows came from Warner Brothers Unscripted TV, working with Telepictures, and got sent out by Warner Brothers Domestic Television. They were like strong pillars holding up daytime TV. Then suddenly, poof, they were gone. People who know the TV business said it pointed to a larger problem. Daytime shows sold to local stations were slowly falling apart. Stations were cutting money everywhere. Ads weren't bringing in as much cash. It got harder and harder to make the numbers work for those kinds of programs. Lots of station owners decided it cost less and felt safer to just add more local news instead of paying big for outside shows. The numbers just didn't add up anymore. Right after the cancellation news hit, Greg went straight to his fans to tell them the real deal. He said loud and clear the show didn't stop because viewers quit watching. Warner Brothers decided they wanted to get out of Judge shows completely as a company choice. He also promised this wasn't goodbye forever for him. He dropped hints that new things were already cooking. And this time, he wanted everything set up in a fresh way. Greg started putting his energy towards studios owned by Black people, Black creators, and Black business owners. His goal was straight up: build real power, own the projects, and open real doors for opportunities, not just look diverse on the outside. He talked honestly about how so many big promises companies and Hollywood made about diversity in the last few years quietly vanished. He mentioned stories of whole teams of people of color getting replaced and real projects getting shut down right when people were hungry for true black stories. For Greg, that wasn't just sad. It felt like a loud call to step up and do something about it. While courtroom doors closed on one side, another door opened wide in his personal life on TV. Thanks to everything he built in his career, Greg let cameras come inside his home for Mathis Family Matters. That reality show gave everybody a real peek at him as a husband, a dad, and just a regular family guy. The whole idea didn't even start with Greg. His son Amir, who works as a producer, got the push from Steve Harvey to try making a show about their own family. At first, Greg wasn't sure about it, but Amir explained it so well that Greg listened. Their family wasn't full of fake drama or made-up fights for TV. All four Mathis kids were grown up, in their 30s, working real jobs, handling relationships, and facing grown-up problems just like anybody else. That real stuff became the center of the show. It never focused on big blow-up arguments or crazy viral clips. Instead, it showed successful grown people dealing with normal life stresses, making mistakes, and growing from them. Before they even started filming, Greg set one super clear rule. No fighting, no yelling, no mean or toxic stuff at all. He wanted the show to show positive vibes, taking responsibility and real love. Viewers loved it right away. People called it wholesome, fresh, and really uplifting. Lots said it was a rare, strong example of B. Lack love, solid family life, and real success. For Greg, seeing that reaction told him he made the perfect choice. Just when it looked like he might leave judging behind forever, 2023 surprised everybody again. Greg came back to the judge's bench with a brand new show. It was called Mathis Court with Judge Mathis. Allen Media Group produced it. Byron Allen brought him on as a major star for their growing list of shows. Byron called him iconic and super charming in his own special way. The new show kicked off as a daily one-hour program. It aired on broadcast stations, cable channels, and online places too. For Greg, teaming up with Byron felt extra close and personal. Both guys grew up in Detroit. Greg saw Allen Media Group like a new version of Motown, but for court TV shows. Judge Greg Mathis immediately divorced his wife after this. The love story between Linda and Gregory Mathis didn't kick off in a courtroom or under shiny Hollywood spotlights. It started soft and simple on a college campus at Eastern Michigan University. They met when they were students, young and still figuring out life. They dated for 4 full years before they decided to get engaged. On June 1, 1985, they said "I do" and got married. That was way before fame, TV cameras, or winning Emmys for a show ever came into their lives. Over the years, they built everything from scratch. They raised 4 kids together: Jade, Camer, Greg Jr., and Amir. For decades, everybody pointed to their marriage as the perfect example of staying strong and steady. So when news dropped in August 2024 that Judge Gregory Mathis and Linda were splitting up, it shocked tons of people. They never saw it coming. The couple had actually separated back in July, 1 month earlier. Now they were officially heading toward divorce. Linda filed the divorce papers on August 22. The court papers said July 17 was the real day they separated. After being together almost 40 years, the reason listed was short and serious: irreconcilable differences. That means they couldn't fix things no matter how hard they tried. Linda asked for spousal support money too. Nobody knows for sure if they had a prenup agreement signed before all the fame and money came. When they got married, they were just out of college. Success and money were still years away in the future, so the surprise made total sense. Gregory always talked about Linda with so much love and respect in public. Back in April 2021, he posted an old wedding photo. He gave Linda credit for helping him turn his whole life around. He said he hoped their story would give hope to other couples. A year after that, when he got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, he made sure everyone knew his wins weren't just his alone. On their reality show Mathis Family Matters, he looked back at his tough Detroit days. He explained how Linda's support let him work crazy long hours and chase big dreams without worry. Linda sat right next to him and said calmly that supporting each other like that was just normal for their family. Even in the last few years, their relationship looked solid from the outside. Early in January, they posted sweet photos from a holiday trip to Cabo. They were kissing and having fun together to end 2023. That same year, they spent part of summer sailing through Europe on Magic Johnson's huge super yacht. They hung out with other famous couples like Michael Jordan and Samuel L. Jackson. Pictures from Greece, France, and Italy showed Greg with his arms around Linda. Both of them were smiling big, looking relaxed and happy on what seemed like the best vacation ever. By March, they still showed up together at events like an influencer's brunch. When someone asked if their reality show might come back, Greg said their family was close, peaceful, and didn't fight at all. Linda agreed and said it mattered a lot to show the world examples of strong, loving Black families without always showing arguments. When 2024 started, nothing looked wrong. Social media posts from Cabo and red carpet talks showed them close, proud of everything they built side by side. That's why when the separation news hit just a few months later, fans were left scratching their heads and hunting for answers. In the eyes of the public, lots of people couldn't believe a 40-year marriage could just end without some big hidden reason nobody knew about. And boom, just like that, questions started flying everywhere. Whenever a famous couple breaks up, the internet jumps super fast. People guess and fill in blanks before real facts show up. This time the spotlight swung straight to Judge Mathis almost right away. Rumors popped up immediately saying he cheated. Then those whispers grew huge and wild. Online talk went from quiet cheating guesses to loud claims he had a secret kid with someone else. Comment sections acted like that side baby story was 100% true. But here's the big thing: there was zero proof for any of it. No real news stories came out. No woman ever stepped up claiming anything. Nothing solid ever backed those wild stories. Still, the gossip got so loud Greg felt he had to speak up. While he was at LAX Airport, he talked openly to TMZ. He called it one of the hardest times in his whole life. Instead of blaming Linda or dodging, he owned up to his part in why the marriage broke. He said it should be a lesson for other guys. He promised he wasn't living a secret double life. But he got why Linda might have started thinking that way. The real problem, he said, was neglect. Over time, he let his wife slide lower and lower on his list of important things. Work, community stuff, and hanging with friends sometimes came first. Between filming episodes, traveling all the time, and being out with buddies, he admitted he didn't make space to protect their marriage. When his show moved from Chicago to Los Angeles in 2023, he promised both himself and Linda things would get better. The move was supposed to mean more home time and putting their relationship first again. But Greg said he didn't keep that promise. He kept staying busy and on the go. By the time he saw how much hurt he caused, the damage was already done and the relationship cracked. In another talk later, Greg shut down the craziest rumors hard. He said flat out there was no secret child. He denied any darker stories people started spreading online too. What was left, he explained, was simpler but way more painful. A long marriage got worn out from him being gone so much and not connecting emotionally. He also said his busy lifestyle probably made doubts grow. Being away for weeks, flying around the country, going to events, and hanging out without Linda around could easily make anyone wonder. From his side, he said those trips were never about chasing someone else. Cheating wasn't why they hit this wall. His words blew up on social media. On X, people split into teams fast. Some got mad at his choices. Others felt bad for him and showed sympathy. Some asked how he could act surprised about divorce after being gone so long. Others reminded everyone divorce hurts deep and said people should be kind. Greg said he's not giving up yet. Even after they separated, he and Linda still lived in the same house. They tried hard to stay polite and friendly. He's been super open about wanting to fix everything. He wants to show real change is possible. In his heart, he believes this story isn't finished. If he keeps showing steady effort and owns everything he did wrong, he thinks there's still hope to save the marriage before it's final. From the outside, though it looked a little one-sided, Linda stayed pretty quiet. Greg seemed like a guy still trying to find balance, full of determination and hope, but not totally sure how to make it work. By October, things started feeling different. Greg told reporters he was carefully hopeful. He said reconciliation looked possible soon. He talked about being home way more and finally doing the work he put off for so long. He focused on really being present instead of rushing around. For the first time, it felt like more than talk. Then November 2024 rolled in. It became clear his hard work paid off. Months after he promised publicly to win Linda back, Greg said their marriage wasn't stuck anymore. They were really working on rebuilding, and this time it felt true and solid. Looking back on everything, Greg called it a breaking point they needed. That kind of tough moment forces you to grow up more and find new purpose. After going from street life to jail to spending years helping at-risk kids, now his main goal felt closer to home, protecting and lifting up real Black love. In a funny, light way, he admitted affection came back into their daily life. When someone asked if he was officially out of the doghouse, Greg wouldn't answer for Linda. He picked being humble instead of bragging. Linda didn't say much, but standing next to him said plenty. They were together again, and that meant everything. By July 2025, almost a full year after their marriage hit its hardest low, the comeback was clear for everybody. A fresh photo started going around online of the couple kissing in New York City. It went viral super quick. And it wasn't just one moment. A few months before, Greg posted a cute video of him singing sweetly to Linda during karaoke at a party. It ended with another kiss. The point was obvious. Something big changed. All the quiet work they put in behind closed doors showed up in real ways. Later that year, in October 2025, they sat down together for a super honest talk on the Tamron Hall show. They went back over the hard times that almost broke them. They explained how facing that pain actually brought them closer in the end. Greg admitted straight up his career put heavy weight on their relationship from day one. All the travel and non-stop schedule meant Linda handled almost everything at home by herself. Over time, that wore down the balance and closeness they had. But they said after separating in August 2024, they didn't waste a second. The time apart physically was only 3 weeks. The emotional work, though, that was deep and intense. Both worked on growing as people and owning their parts. That set up a stronger, healthier way to be together. Before the show aired, Linda shared that the whole process turned out surprisingly good. She called their steps forward steady, full of meaning, and really satisfying. She gave important background on why she filed for divorce to begin with. Her kids were always number one, but she realized she had put herself last for way too long. After years of holding everybody else up emotionally, she needed to take care of her own heart and happiness. That change, she said, became the base for a better, more even relationship going ahead. For Greg, the separation felt crushing. He said the hurt reminded him of losing his mom. That comparison showed how much it rocked him to his core. That deep pain pushed him to do whatever it took to fix things. Just saying sorry wasn't enough. They had to slowly get to know each other again. They relearned how to talk, connect, and be close like they used to years ago. Linda pointed out, even though Greg never actually moved out of the house, the emotional gap during that time felt huge and painful. But all the hard work worked. She called their new chapter joyful and getting better every day. She said reconnecting feels like something they truly love doing together. Their son Greg Mathis Jr. echoed that feeling of solid ground again. He talked about it publicly while at the NAACP Image Awards in Los Angeles. He was getting ready for his new movie coming out on Bet Plus. He said it felt unreal watching his parents' private problems play out so publicly. Even with all the mess, he felt thankful and relieved they worked it out. Now the family is in a really good spot. In the end, the Mathis family got their balance back. They didn't pretend the problems weren't there. They looked right at the cracks, faced them together, and chose every single day to build stronger than before.